What's up, guys? It's that time of year again. Snow is all over the tower, but somehow hasn't impacted anywhere else. You've got all these people talking about doing things like baking stuff and needing ingredients and whatnot, and it sounds like we're all a whole bunch of guardians that now own easy bake ovens, and that means it is the time of the year where it is the Dawning Festival, which is like the end of the year holiday thing that Bungie has done with Destiny at least the last couple of years. So this video is going to be all about the Dawning. I'm going to try to tell you guys like what you actually get from the Dawning, like some different I guess like triumphs and whatnot and pieces of gear. There's going to be on screen things like what you can get from Eververse, as well as give you guys some tips and tricks about how to get these things done, what you want to do, as well as probably some of my own thoughts about this whole event. But man, this thing cracks me up. Like, I'm just like hopping into parties and everyone's like, I need me some null taste and bake myself a chocolate chip cookie and all this other stuff. And all I got thinking in the back of my head is that it's the Barbie theme song with like the Easy Bake Oven. I don't know. That's just what pops into my head with this event. So what does this event actually entail? Basically, it's a metric butt ton of bounties, because we all know how well that went the last time with Guardian games. Well, we get it back again. You start the whole quest off with Eva Vante. She'll give you eventually 2 exotic quests. One of them is for yourself, the other one is a community event. I'm real curious to see what that community exotic is going to be. There's speculation it might have something to do with Hawkmoon, but time will tell. And the other one, I have no idea either. I'm just doing them because I probably should, so I'm doing them. So what you want to do is grab all the bounties you can from Eva and then just play the game. You're going to want to pay attention to what kinds of recipes you need to cook, though, because in that first column, it hinges on what kinds of ads you've killed. So if you need Cabal oil for a recipe, you have to kill Cabal to get Cabal oil for that first slot or first column. For the second column, it's going to be stuff like Null Taste, Perfect Finisher, things like that. And so that's how you killed those enemies. So if you need Null Taste, for example, throw on some Void weapons or a Void subclass and go to town. And that's eventually you will get a Null Taste because you have to kill stuff with Void to get Null Taste. And that last column is Essence of Dawning, which is basically, hey, I played activities and it gave me a little reward. So you have to have those 3 things filled in until your oven's masterworked. It's 15 essence, not a big deal. You probably can most efficiently farm that out in the hunt, but we'll get into that later. Otherwise, the rest of the event is just baking stuff, dropping them off to whoever it is you need to drop off to, and just doing that over and over and over and over and over and over while you're playing the game. Mostly the way you probably would before, other than you probably will farm some specific enemies because you might want to get a recipe done. Now, if you're wondering, what do I need to do for what recipes, then I have a website link down below. Just check that out. That'll save you guys tons of time. It'll save me tons of time. And just hang on to that. Like, you can easily hop onto Google, type in, for example, chocolate chip cookie recipe Destiny 2, and you'll probably find a website like Fanbyte, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to put in there, and then go ahead and do it. Now, for rewards, most of the stuff, again, comes from Eververse. I mean, some of it's really cool, though. Like, I really love the Xenophage ornament. If I enjoyed Monte Carlo more, I probably would love that Monte Carlo ornament, but since I don't, I'm like, whatever. There's things like ghost shells and finishers and emotes and all kinds of stuff. Now, understandably, money would probably be an issue, and it's not uncommon for these things to rotate through and be available for Bright Dust, although I doubt everything will be available for Bright Dust, and you might want to be picky on what you do buy for Bright Dust, because then if something you really, really want comes up later, it might be really hard to try and get that Bright Dust back. However, you can buy those armor sets, the current one from this year, as well as the past couple of years, for Bright Dust, which is like 6,000 each. So you probably will want to have at least 18,000 Bright Dust if you're going to buy one current set of the armor for each character. and that's a lot of bright dust. So I would maybe just pick one. So like I just picked it for my Titan. I don't know. That's just kind of who I like the most, so I just did it for Titan. Otherwise, the rest of this video is going to be all about these like tips and tricks. There's going to be gameplay in the back to show you guys it really is just playing the game how you normally would. And I'll probably give you guys my thoughts as well about this whole event. As you guys can probably tell, I'm a little sarcastic feeling. I'm kind of like, it ain't the worst, but it certainly ain't the best. So that's kind of, I guess, the summary of the thoughts, but I'll tell you guys more why. So up first is going to be tips and tricks on how to get these recipes done without wanting to bang your head into a snowman. So the best really tips and tricks I can give you guys is to find out what activities for yourself and or your fire team can you complete the fastest. Because if you're not necessarily someone that is good at speedrunning but can absolutely train wreck in the Crucible, that would technically probably throw off what's the most efficient farm, right? So that's probably thing number one, because that essence that you need to use for each of these different recipes you bake up, you have to complete activities. And so if you take a while to do nightfalls, it might not be the best way of farming these things. Even if it's like a nightfall might give you the most per activity, if that activity takes you like 3 times longer than it takes you to do a Crucible match, then it might kind of balance out and be really more or less the same. So keep that in mind as I'm giving these tips for you guys, is that so far these things seem like they'd be the most useful for the most number of people, but there can be variances. So fastest way for me so far has been to approach it like this. I go through, I did all my pinnacles, and then when I got my 5 lure charges, ran through and did my 5 hunts. Because for me, even by myself, one hunt takes you like less than 5 minutes. And so that means in that 5 minutes, I got 50 essence, because for me, hunts was rewarding me 10 essence, and so I was getting close to 100 essence in like, I don't know, like a half hour-ish, pretty much. And then as I was charging up those lures, just doing activities, going through the pinnacles, I was still getting essences. So I think, to me, that's probably the most efficient way, is play the game how you normally would if you're approaching this for powering up, because you will get things like Cabal Oil and Null Taste and all this other goodness stuff while you're doing those activities, and then you can hop on in and farm out the exact stuff you need after you've done those hunts, because the more essence you have, the more you're able to crank out at one time. So like if you're doing strikes, you'll probably end up with a good chunk of at least a couple different enemy types of their ingredients. Like you could get a fair bit of, I think it's chitin powder for Hive, you might get a lot of Bex milk, you might get, if you get the Hallowed Lair, you'll probably get a ton of that dark ether cane for the scoring, and so that's just a really good way of approaching it. So just play the game how you normally would. If you're someone that likes to do the raid, you will get a ton of ether cane, but realize so far it doesn't seem like a ton of the quests require ether cane, so you might not want to live in that activity this week. Like I have had weeks where I've done 15 clears of the raid, probably won't be this week. Then the other tip I would give you guys is to really try and use those bounties, because the bounties will speed up the community quest progress, they'll speed up your own quest progress. So if you look at those exotic quests, the one that says it's for the community, that one just requires right now on the step as I'm recording, you just drop off stuff to the spider. I mean, it's going to change as with time goes on, so just pay attention to that, and as you can, do stuff to help everybody out. Then you have the other quest, and all in a good flight, something like that. And that's one you and only you can get progress for. So you want to get the Spirit of the Dawning. And how you get those is by doing bounties and completing triumphs from this whole event. And then you also have to bake a specific cookie and drop it off, or whatever it is, and drop it off to the appropriate vendor, and that is the step. And so you're going to want to pay attention to what kinds of enemies that you need to kill. And these daily bounties will also reward you some of these different things like Essence and Spirit of the Dawning, as well as maybe Bright Dust and Experience. So you want to pay attention to those bounties as well and try to complete them all at the same time. So here's an example, right? Because we're talking about most maximum efficiency. Say you're wanting to do strikes. Look through your strike bounties. See if you've got any that would line up for stuff you can do at the same time as the Dawning bounty. So like you might be able to do auto rifles for both, or like if you're running the strike this week of December 15th, it happens to be Stasis and Void Burn. So you could maybe be knocking out bounties for a couple of different vendors at the same time, which will give you more essence and bright dust, and it'll just help you to get more out of this event if you try to combine things together. If that's confusing, let me know, or join our Discord server and you can be one of our clans on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. You can ask questions away because almost all of them are tracking on how my crazy mind works. So that's really more or less the tips, is you want to use your time efficiently. If this is an event you really care about, or there's like pieces of loot that you really want, you're going to have to be rather intentional about how you go about trying to kill what with what in order to get these things done. Once you have all the recipes done, your oven can be masterworked, which is completely free. You just apply it like you saw at the beginning of this video, and everything then costs significantly less, other than the essence. The essence goes from like 15 to 10, so it's not like a huge drop, but hey, it really helps when most activities give you 10. So that's something you guys probably want to prioritize, especially if you're really looking to hunt down all these different triumphs and loot and pieces of whatever from inside of the Dawning. Now, one of the other reasons, especially for you PvP folks out there, that when you want to do this Dawning stuff, is that when you turn in these different baked goods, and from your easy bake oven into whatever vendor it is, you have a chance for getting a legendary gift. You will for sure get at least the blue gift, but you have a chance for a legendary one. And when you open up that legendary gift from your inventory, you could get that new fusion rifle, the Glacio Chasm. Whatever. I'm bad at words. I don't speak no good. And so that is one thing that's going to be really useful. This fusion rifle seems to be really good. I'm not much of a fusion rifle dude. I wouldn't deign to say I have anywhere close to God rolls, but this thing works fairly well. Like, I just have to get used to, if I want to use this, to how you play with the fusion rifle that's not Jotun with a 0.2 second charge up time. It's a straight up goddamn rocket launcher. Alright, getting a little sidetracked. Alright, moving on. So, what do I actually think about this whole event? I'm like, meh. It's the same event we've had for, I guess, probably 3 years now. It's kind of cool, but it's like you play the same game and just get more stuff. So kind of, I think I said this is a Guardian game. So like my ADD brain kind of likes this a lot at the beginning. So I'm like, ooh, look, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. As like stuff's like dropping on my screen and popping all over the place. I'm like, oh man, look at all the shiny stuff, which is definitely not why I missed a free throw during a varsity basketball game in high school. And it's kind of cool for a little bit. And then after like, I don't know, 2 hours, I was like, oh my god, this is basically, this whole event is just bounty farming. So here's kind of my thoughts, I guess, with this event. We could really use something to spruce this whole thing up. Like the first year, or maybe it's the second, I'm not completely sure, but early on in the years of the Dawning, we had where there were like snowball piles on the ground, right? Even in like strikes, patrol, they were everywhere. And you could throw snowballs at enemies, and you feel like hit like your friend has like a guardian, you slowed them down, and it was kind of fun. Folks would like try to mess with each other, and it was kind of a hoot to like throw a snowball at like a Minotaur, and the Minotaur's like, "Whoa, what happened?" And then you're like, haha, shotgun bitch. Like it was kind of a fun thing. And it's been gone. Like, I think maybe there's snowballs in the tower, but I don't know for sure. I only say that because I was with the fire team, and one guy's like, oh, god damn it, I hate getting chilled with these damn snowballs. So I'm assuming, I guess, they're in the tower, but I honestly haven't even noticed them. So I guess they might be in subtle locations. I don't know. Don't quote me that there are in the tower. I'm just saying the guy said he was chilled, and that's the only thing, to my knowledge, that would do that inside of the tower. And that's really all we've ever had, like, extra for Dawning. That year, too, like, everywhere there was snow. So, like, you could go to any planet covered in snow. Not just Europa, like any planet. Piles of snow everywhere. And it's, like, the exact same appearance that really, the tower is the only place where anything changed. And that's a little bit bumming. The Eververse, Like always, every event has got some nice stuff. I won't lie. I caved and got myself the Xenophage ornament. I'm pretty sure as I'm recording, my wife got herself the Xenophage ornament because we both are like, oh my gosh, that's baller. But otherwise, like, that seems to be this event. Like, the appeal seems to be more of the cosmetics. Now, for the rest of it, I think the 2 exotic quests have more intrigue than they would perhaps in the past, right? Because we've had community events before where it gave us like Fellwinters, and then we have this other exotic quest, and some folks thought it's gonna be the fusion rifle, but now we know it's not the fusion rifle, unless there's some like exotic version of it that none of us know about. Like, I have no clue. The Hawk Moon is hypothesized as being the result of the community quest for like that mission where you get the random rolls, but time will tell on that one. So like, that's kind of like the saving grace for me in this event. If I wasn't so like gotta catch them all, like obsessed with trying to do all the triumphs, and if I was just like whatever, I probably wouldn't give 2 craps about this event. But because of these 2 exotics, I'm like, ooh, wonder what that's going to be. So it's like the curiosity that killed the cat. I'm like going through, I'm like, oh my god, this is so lame. But what will I get when I open the box? What's in the box? Like, you know, that's kind of the gist of how I'm feeling for this event is, what's in the box? So there we go. Alright guys, I really appreciate y'all for watching. Let me know down below what you guys think of this event. Was anything that I mentioned useful? Was this a good way of trying to sum up the event so you guys could be like, yeah, I'm going to put lots of time into this? Or be like, nope, I'm going to avoid that like I do the word that YouTube says we can't use, but it ends with 19 with a 20-foot pole. Like, I don't know. Let me know. If you need a clan, hop in that Vengeful Discord server, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. That'd be a great way to, you know, get some help in LFG and share ideas. Other ways to support the channel are also listed down below, but the best way for me is to subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, and comment things down below that you can let me know, like, this was great, this was terrible, I don't know, just comment something down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video to hear this, I would love to see an emoji. I don't even care what emoji this time. Just put down some sort of an emoji that YouTube allows, and that will let me know, like, hey, you watched all the way to the end of the video, and you might get extra comments or thumbs up or something from yours truly, me. So, anyways, I'm Church of Caboose. Have a great week, and happy grinding, y'all.